By now, I think most people are aware of the concept of hypergamy, the idea that women date across and up social hierarchies and men date across and down. So how that's reflected is that women tend to date men that are of equal age or higher, of equal height or higher, of equal income or higher, and the list kind of goes on and on. And men do the opposite, that they will tend to date girls that are of the same age or younger, or of the same height or shorter. That's the word. And I'm here to warn that there needs to be a limit to this. Men need to be careful not to date down too far, because what this tends to be a reflection of is a man with low self-esteem. Because what he's doing is he's deliberately dating below the level he should do to feel more comfortable in himself, that he wants to hide away from the fear that maybe she might leave, and maybe he doesn't want to live in that anxiety whilst they're in a relationship of feeling more threatened because he doesn't value himself very well. So if he's with a girl of anywhere near his sort of perceived value, he'll feel threatened by any guy that enters the picture, that why would she stay with him? So one of the big flaws of guys when they date down by too far is it reveals their own insecurity about themselves. And how this plays out in the relationship is, at the beginning, yeah, he might feel invested in the girl, but once they start to progress through the relationship, he's just going to feel resentful. He's going to feel like, oh, maybe she's not good enough for me. But the issue is, I picked her. Like, I picked this girl in the relationship, and then I'm going to try and turn around and be like, oh, but yeah, she's not good enough, and I'm going to take it out on her. I'm going to wish that I had that pretty girl. It's going to be the grass is greener situation everywhere. And this will cause so much inner turmoil in the relationship that you cause unnecessary hurt to this girl, because you're just taking out unfair resentment because a man was not confident enough to be able to date within his own bracket. So for men, one of the key things that we need to do is work on a recognition of our own value, which is something that is pretty challenging in the modern day, where the idea of being a man is not something that's held in very high esteem, which is criminal in a societal perspective, because not only is it okay to be a man, it's necessary, but I think this is impacting men's self-esteem as a whole, and all this is going to lead to is really shitty relationships where men just deliberately date below their means and then just take it out on the girl. So one of the best ways that men can start to work on their self-esteem is to push themselves to start doing difficult things. Our self-esteem, like, it is inaccurate, but at the same time, it is still watching us at all times. I think I've been amazed by the power of little actions to correct myself back to feeling like I have something to offer the world. As simple as being brave enough to go in a cold shower one day, that what that does is prove to you that you're not just getting defeated by the world over and over again. David Goggins and Alex Hormozy speak to a similar process where you build up the stack of undeniable wins that you are who you say you are, because it can sometimes be difficult. Maybe you feel like you've been on a losing streak for a while, and we have such a recency bias when it comes to our own self-esteem that we can start to crumble down a little bit. So having this stack of proof that, yeah, I did achieve these things, and this is something that I have to reflect on myself, that I've definitely gone through periods in my life where maybe things aren't going that well for me in my work life, maybe in my relationships, and then I have to reflect back that realistically, I'm still the guy that managed to go on a 10-day silent meditation retreat with no prior meditation experience. It was ridiculously difficult. I'm still the guy that moved to an Eastern European country without speaking the language and not even planning to do it. I just stayed from a 10-day trip, and I just started to build up this stack of wins that always allows me to pull myself back out and up my self-esteem again. Another way to help with our self-esteem is to push ourselves to always tell the truth. What happens every single time we tell a lie is that how we see ourselves the value of that starts to drop. We see that, oh, he's just had to lie in that situation. That means that he believes what the truth is of who he really is isn't good enough. We reinforce this idea that we're not good enough anytime we feel that need to lie about who we are. Maybe it's to someone we just met and we exaggerate what our job is, or on a dating profile, if we exaggerate how tall we are. We need to see this like we have an internal watcher in our own mind, and it sees that every time we lie and we stretch the truth about who we are, that means the real us, yeah, that person can't be good enough if we can't just put that person forward into the world. So one of the major flaws that we have with our self-esteem is if we start to corrupt our speech. Jordan Peterson is probably the man that changed my life the most with this. If you haven't read Rule 8 of his 12 Rules for Life, he dives into how much damage we cause to our internal world and the external world by engaging in deceitful activities. And this is one of the major ways you simply can't feel good about yourself if all you ever do is tell lies, because it's not you that you're projecting out into the world anymore. It's the sort of faux you that's been put out with this projection, and we'll feel that hollowness on the inside. The only way to truly feel good about who we are is being honest about it. We have to speak to our own flaws. I learned that I'm god-awful at spelling. I think I'm pretty much dyslexic and I can't spell properly. Like, I love Taylor Swift. I don't have the most attractive and eclectic music taste. That's just not part of who I am. But you know what? When we show our flaws, we start to feel more confident because it's at least us that we're projecting out into the world. And finally, I check your environment. The people around us have a picture of who we are, and maybe you're not around the best kind of people, and they're projecting onto you this kind of vision they have of you being a loser and someone that's not that confident. So they treat you as such. They don't really treat you very well at all. And then you're just going to internalize this. We negotiate our identity with the world. I can't just claim to be a brain surgeon. I actually need to have some back and forth with society if that's an acceptable identity for me, and it will project that onto me if I go through the appropriate processes in the world, doing the exams, doing the years of study and practice. So we adopt part of how society projects onto us who we are. And if all of the people around you are suggesting that you're not that confident and you're a bit of a loser, you're going to feel that. It's like you could take the most confident guy in the world and you put him in an environment where everyone thinks he's a loser. He will be able to sustain that for a short period, his confidence, but it will wane on him. It will completely wane on because we do defer to the group. We want to be socially accepted, and he's going to start changing his identity to conform with how the group sees him. So this is one of the reasons that people, they never change, and especially if you've never left home, you've never left that original group of friends, and they don't treat you that well, you need to leave, because it's almost better to have no friends than it is to have ones that treat you badly, because at least with no friends, then your identity becomes more weighted heavily in how you see yourself rather than how they see you. So when men date down too far below their level, it is a reflection that there is just this internal problem that's going wrong. If you feel like this could be you, then look towards building up your own self-esteem, because then you'll be more confident and more able to have the relationships you want and not have the sort of relationship where you're both just bitter with each other. Become more confident, gain better self-esteem, and start to enjoy relationships at your own level.